We come now to Galatians chapter 5. And all through Galatians so far, Paul has been talking to these foolish Galatians who are trying to mix law and grace. They started out, and now the false prophets have come along and the false teachers and tried to get them again to go back under the law. And here's what Paul has to say in Galatians chapter 5. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Behold, I, Paul, say unto you, that if you be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing. For I testify again to every man that is circumcised, that he is a debtor to do the whole law. Verse 4, Christ is become of no effect unto you. Whosoever of you are justified by the law, ye are fallen from grace. You're trying to be good enough to please God. You're putting yourself under the law. It becomes self-righteousness. And Paul's saying if you do that, then you're fallen from grace. Verse 5, For we, through the Spirit, wait for the hope of righteousness by faith. All through here it's saying, by faith we are justified. By faith Abraham was justified. And verse 6, For in Jesus Christ neither circumcision availeth anything, nor uncircumcision, but faith which worketh by love. And he's telling the Galatians here now, verse 7, Ye did run well. What did hinder you that you should not obey the truth? I'll tell you what hindered them. The people that are trying to get them back under the law keepers. That's what hindered them. Verse 8, This persuasion cometh not of him that calleth you. Okay? It's not of God. Verse 9, A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. I have confidence in you through the Lord, that ye will be none otherwise minded. But he that troubleth you shall bear his judgment, whosoever he be. We're about to find out what Paul thinks of those that are trying to put these new believers back under the law, like Seventh-day Adventists do. Bring people back under the law, and they're not the only ones. Verse 11, And I, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution? Then is the offense of the cross ceased. I would, here's what Paul thinks of those that are trying to bring them back under the law. I would they were even cut off which trouble you. For, brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. You see, here's an accusation against grace believers. Well, you can go out and sin all you want. Well, to a degree that's true, but you will not get, a believer does not get away with sinning. There is results, and there isn't a believer that doesn't sin, but we are told to walk in the Spirit, and we won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. That's for believers. Okay, verse 14. For all the laws fulfilled in one word, even this, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. So there you are. It's possible for a Christian to fulfill the lust of the flesh. We are told to walk in the Spirit, that we might not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Verse 17, For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. This is the only kind of battle. This battle is only in a Christian. It's only in a Bible believer. This is the only struggle, if they're a believer. And verse 17, For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would. But if you be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. You're not under the law. Verse 19, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murderers, drunkenness, revelling, and such like, of which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. And there we come to the end of Galatians chapter 5.